Hey everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to teach you how to recreate this peppermint zombie look. Soft mints were my favorite candy growing up. I had like the taste buds of an older person. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite candy was growing up, and if you want to know how you can recreate this look, keep on watching. So the first thing you do is you start off using a white eyeliner pencil to trace on the main features of your zombie. So I went with an open wound near the chest, a little circle that's going to end up having a peppermint in it, some candy canes, the mouth area, the cheeks, eyes, and then open wounds on the forehead. The ones in the forehead, I made the brain look like small peppermints, not the ones that are in the shape of a circle, but the ones that are more like a roll. The reason you outline the features first or draw them on is so that you get an idea of where everything's supposed to be placed and you do not end up painting these features white right away with your face paint, because what happens when you mix any color face paint in with the white paint, it's either going to make it too light or it's going to muddy the color up. So you want to avoid these areas right off the bat so you can keep your paint colors as true to the color as can be. After you've done this, you want to take your white face paint and start painting your zombie skin color. You don't have to go with white, but the theme for my zombie was a peppermint zombie, or like a candy cane zombie, so I went with white. Now use a gray face paint, a light gray face paint. I mixed my white paint with my black paint to create the color that I needed, and I used it to outline my mouth and to start painting on the teeth. You're going to use this light gray paint to outline a bunch of the features, so like the eyes and the wounds, where the wounds open up where the skin is. So right where like the skin is kind of flapping out and going into the white, you want to paint the inside of the wounds with that color. You're going to use gray and not black, because black is going to make this look a little bit more like a cartoon zombie, and I want this to look a little bit more realistic, if that makes sense, to make features really stand out. So that's why I'm going to use tones of gray rather than just a bunch of black paint and a bunch of black eyeshadow. I'm going to be relying heavily on the shading I'm going to be doing with the eyeshadow for this look to create the natural shadows I need, rather than using black face paint to create those shadows. So like I said, I used that color to outline the wounds. I outlined the candy canes, mouth, nose. I didn't outline the cheeks because I wanted to use a little bit of black there. The next thing I did was mix an even lighter gray color that I use as the shadow that is near the rib cage. The wound will look deeper than it actually is by leaving the shadow here lighter. Once I've done that, I go back with the white paint and I start painting all the parts of the peppermint that are supposed to be white, and also the parts of the candy cane that are supposed to be white. So any parts that are supposed to be white. So like the teeth, the rib cage, the sternum. The rib cage and sternum, I went with a different design, something that was different from the swirls in the peppermint near the holes, and also the candy cane, because I wanted every area to stand out on their own, and if every single design for each peppermint was the same, it would just all kind of blend in way too much. So I just went with a different design on each peppermint, if that makes sense. Now take a red paint and start painting the peppermint with that red paint, and also your gums. You don't really have to go with just white and red peppermint. I know there are candy canes that come red, white, and green. You can even go with like the red, white, and green and yellow design. It's all up to you, but I just went with, the true peppermint Christmassy feel, vibe, even though zombies really have nothing to do with Christmas. All the brushes I'm using are from either Royal Langnickel or Made You Look by Lex. The blue colored ones that are more like an aqua blue are from Made You Look, and then all the other color ones are from Royal Langnickel. I painted my cheeks using the red paint. You can paint the cheeks, whatever color you want. I wanted red, again, to just kind of flow with everything and match everything, and I really just wanted my zombie to be mainly red and white. So for my eyes, I decided to make one really big and have an iris that looks like a peppermint, and then the other one was just painted white. I choose to paint on my eyes rather than wear contacts because, first of all, I can't wear contacts, said it before, and I don't think people seriously realize how dangerous those contacts are. Like, I've got really bad eyesight, and the last thing I want to do is F it up using those contacts. Like, you hear horror stories, and even if you know, you don't experience any of those things, like the contact gets stuck to your eye and rips out your cornea, like over time those contacts will damage your eyes. So it's not worth it to me. I'd rather paint on contacts than damage my eyes. And I'm not bad mouthing somebody who like uses them on occasion, especially like for tutorials and stuff, because I highly doubt they're leaving those contacts in for a long period of time. But it's when you're wearing them like on a constant basis and you're wearing them for long periods where it's going to cause some type of damage. Now I use the black face paint to fill in the mouth. You want to make sure the black face paint goes over where your lips meet so it can hide that area, and then I use it to create shadows by outlining here and there around some of the features. You don't want to outline the entire thing because it's going to take away from the shadows and the depth of it, so you just want to like slightly do it here and there like you see me doing it. And I will always love shading. Ooh. Okay, it's time to shade. My favorite thing about body painting and face painting is shading. Just makeup in general. Like, shading does so much when it comes to makeup. Like, contouring is shading, and who doesn't love to contour? So you're going to take a black eyeshadow. If there's too much on your brush, you want to like make sure you dust it off. You can apply it to the back of your hand or something to make sure there's not too much on your brush, and then you start shading areas you want to be shaded. So around your cheekbone, below it, around your jaw, you contour your face to make your face look slimmer, like a zombie, because a zombie looks very skeletal, thin. When you shade around the sternum and the rib cage, you want to shade right under it to make that area look lifted. You don't want to shade the entire thing because it takes away from the dimension of the wound. You also want to shade where the wound and this like white skin meet. You want to shade under the candy cane, around all the wounds. You want to shade where the brain is opening up. You want to pretty much shade everywhere. And then I even kind of like just pounce the eyeshadow brush onto the skin and make it look a little bit more dirtied up. I don't like it, the white face paint, to look so crisp and white. I like it to look a little dirty and roughed up. I'm using NYX Wicked Dreams eyeshadow palette to do this, the black eyeshadow in that palette. If you've watched my tutorials a lot, you have seen me use this palette a lot, or the black eyeshadow at least inside of it, because I love the black eyeshadow in it. It's very pigmented and it's not a lot of money, so that's why I like to use it. Now if you want to make the wound look more raised, what you do is you shade slightly away from the wound. So where the wound is, maybe like half an inch away from it, you want to take your eyeshadow brush and start shading in the shape of the wound, and it'll make the area look lifted because it'll go from a shadow to the light white, which will be the highlight, a natural highlight, and then back to the dark shading from inside of the wound. So this will help it look more raised. You can also shade around your collarbones to make yourself look even more thin, because like I said, zombies look very skeletal. They look very thin. You can actually see it right now what I'm doing, where I'm shading the areas that are like outside of the wound, making it in the shape of the wound, blending it out so it's going from a shadow to the highlight, which is the white, and then into the wound, and it makes that area look lifted. Go back with your white face paint and use it to highlight the peppermint and the candy cane. So you just add little white strokes to where the red is, and it'll highlight these areas, add a little more dimension to it. I always say shading is the cherry on top, but like when you think of a sundae, like shading is like the hot chocolate, it's the good stuff. Not hot chocolate, hot fudge, what am I talking about? It's the good stuff. And then highlighting is like the cherry on top. It's like the final thing you do, and it's like, ooh. But shading is like, give me more of that. I then threw on a white wig and painted my ear white. I don't usually like to paint my ear. If I can avoid painting it, I do. But for this I had to, because it looked really dumb having a white wig and then like you could see my skin color. So I hope you all enjoyed the tutorial. Please, if you recreate any of my looks, tag me on Instagram, #TwistedChristmasSeries. I would love to feature some of you guys in my videos recreating my looks. I think that'd be really awesome. So I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Take care. Bye.